Hey, y'all, and welcome to another exciting episode of Down Home Dirt, the show where we dive deep into the journey of entrepreneurship with those who took the plunge and all the ups and downs that come with it. I'm your host, Dusta, and today I am joined with Nadia. She is a chef, a restaurant owner, and a culinary arts educator. Welcome and thank you.
Thank you for having me.
I'm really excited to get to know you. We believe we met on the internet.
Yes, we are both part of a very great group of, women entrepreneurs on Facebook, and that's how we met.
Yes, we love to share stories, advice, and trying to get to know each other. So I appreciate you. And you sent me an article about a restaurant that you owned. Is that correct?
Yes, I own Gusto Napolitano. I know it's a mouthful, but it means flavor from Naples. It is the only authentic restaurant in the area where you will not find anything American Italian. It's like we don't have Alfredo sauce, we don't have pepperoni, we don't have nothing that is not Italian. And
Oh,
so the cool thing about it is that I've met so many people that were looking for those authentic flavors. After visiting Italy, after visiting Naples, or maybe they were stationed there because we have, for liberty in favor, and so they were looking for that kind of authenticity, and they're returning customers.
I am so excited about that. So tell us where you're from and how did you end up in this area in North Carolina?
Sure. So I'm from Naples, Italy, Naples proper. I know a lot of immigrants, they come from smaller cities around Naples, but I am from Naples, Naples. And I it's very hard to find jobs in Naples, and it just happened that I fell in love with a Marine that was working at the the NSA base, and when we got married over there, and then when his contract expired, and he returned to the United States, then I came with him.
That's a great story. I love that. My children are half Italian. I don't speak with their father, but it's been a journey trying to teach people their last name. It's Boliciano. And
Uh-huh.
I'm like, and I've heard everything you could imagine. So I only imagine the struggles that you have to go through.
Yeah. I just like when I teach, I used to teach middle school, high school, and then college, department chair, college again. And yeah, that everybody calls me Chef M or Chef Nadia because they can't say my last name.
Oh, it has been a struggle. They're now adults, and I've been saying this for so long. I have a song when I say their last name, and I'm just like, I'm not even going to try and tell you what it is. I'll just spell it. So I feel you on that. Let's dive right into it. I want to talk about your journey and how you came to be a chef here in North Carolina. So, what inspired you to become a chef? And can you share a pivotal moment that solidified your passion for cooking?
Sure. Um, my parents were foodies
Mm.
before the word foodies was even invented. And so I've always been very fortunate to have eaten the best food that Italy has to offer. And so when I came to the US and there were, again, no jobs available for somebody with a very thick accent, um, I joined it was kind of like of a foreign born wives club that Camp Lejeune had, and that's where I started cooking for all the other wives. And the general of the base, Mrs. Smith, um, she said, "You know what? Why? I mean, I love Italian food. Could you come over and cook for us?" And so I started cooking for the general, and then the general told other people, and so then I started cooking for the colonels and the lieutenant colonels, and so I became like first a personal chef, and um, I met a food journalist that was based out of Jacksonville, North Carolina, and she said, "Why don't you get a degree in it?" And I'm like, "Y'all have degrees in cooking?" And I was like, sure, why not? And so I got my culinary arts degree in Kinston, North Carolina, at LCC, and then from there I was like, well, why stop here? So I got a 4-year degree from Campbell University in restaurant, food service management. And so then I was like, well, why stop there? So I got a master in gastronomy, or it's a master in liberal arts with the concentration in gastronomy, which is the relationship between food and culture. And so yeah, it's that's how it started, because somebody said, I like the way you cook. Why can't you cook for me? And that's how it started.
I love that story. That is a lot of entrepreneurs is, hey, I'm doing this thing, but why don't you do it professionally? And you're like, okay, I'll just jump in.
Yeah.
I
I
love
mean,
that.
what's the alternative? you know?
Right. And I love that you've built all of this and you went to school for it. That's absolutely amazing. I'm sorry. I'm really excited. So, you mentioned your culinary style a little bit. So, how would you describe it and what influence shaped your approach to cooking?
My mother is a huge influence. Um, her most famous saying is, you get out what you put in. So if you put in good ingredients, fresh ingredients, that's what you're going to get out at the end of the recipe. You're going to get, an elevated dish. If you put trash in it, that's what you're going to get. You're going to get trash. So it's, I will say that she's been my biggest influence. I didn't grow up around chefs. I didn't grow up around culinary celebrities. Back in the day when I was growing up, we didn't have internet. So there's nobody to inspire you but the food itself that you're eating. How can I recreate this? And so that has been my inspiration, is, my place of birth and our culinary tradition and my mother.
I love that. I love Italian food. Food is a love language, I think, for many people, especially me. So I think that being able to express that in such a way and your non-trash ingredients, I agree with you 100%. I recently went through just a little diet change where I was eating garbage. I felt like garbage and it wasn't good. And now that
Hmm.
I've been exploring more culinary things, I'm like, okay, this is better. I taste better. It feels better. It is better. So I totally agree with you on that. Uh, let's talk about cultural significance. What role do you believe? Let me try that again. What role do you believe food plays in culture and community, and how do you incorporate that understanding in your cooking?
Hmm. So, uh, food is the window, the door to other cultures. It doesn't matter how racist somebody is, you're still gonna eat the food from the culture that you hate the most because you like it.
That is very interesting. Oh,
So is, for example, at my restaurant, we have communal tables, and people from, all walks of life sit together, and you'd be surprised how many times we've had, people start conversations with other people that they would never have even looked at. And so I've always found that through food, that's how you really put your food into another dimension, a dimension that otherwise you would have not experienced. And so I really see food and cooking as a window onto the world, where you can see different things and explore different places without even leaving where you live. So it's, I think that from a psychological and sociological point of view, food is the thread that holds us all together. So and I see it in my restaurant all the time.
you're absolutely correct on that. Food does bring people together. That is something that I'm realizing. Also, this is just a side note. I started going to different restaurants and seeing how they would infuse two different cultures of food. And that was also very interesting. And I love the
Mhm.
textures and the taste. And I went to this Asian infusion place. I even did a I don't know if you've been to Scratch Kitchen, but they do like Southern and they mix it. I think it's with like an Asian twist. Very interesting. And it does bring a lot of people together. So, yes. Let's talk about challenges in the industry. What are some of the biggest challenges that you faced as a chef and how have they shaped your career?
So, being a woman is the biggest handicap that I can have. The second one is being assertive in the South. Is the second handicap that I have. Although in other parts of the world is considered a quality, in the South is considered a defect. And so when I know what I want and I let you know what I want, that's what I expect, then I'm called all kinds of names. I'm ostracized. All of a sudden, doors shut in your face. You're stabbed in the back. I mean, people put more effort into destroying you than it would be just ignoring me or doing their job.
I agree. I am not from the South, and it was definitely a culture shock when I moved here because I had to sit down and shut up, and I am not that person, and I never will be.
Yeah. So it's, people either love me or hate me. And that has shaped the way I act a lot. I used to be more vociferous, more vocal, and I've had to really curb my enthusiasm in sharing what goes in my mind.
I understand that. I had to do the same thing. When I first learned that I couldn't do that when I moved here, I was like, oh, okay, I'm just gonna.
Yeah, yeah. They told me as long as you put "bless your heart" somewhere in the sentence, you're pretty much covered. Uh, but people have become wise to that. So the moment you say "bless your heart," they know you're offending.
Yes, I had to learn that because people would say that to me, and I'm like, I don't understand why so many people are blessing me.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, bless your heart. You don't know that. No, I don't.
Like, oh, I
Yeah.
think it was the internet who taught me that because I did. I mean, obviously, I moved here from Florida, so it's a different life down there. And I came here and I had to learn like a lot of things. So thank God for the internet. So let's talk about balancing tradition and innovation. How do you balance traditional cooking techniques with modern culinary trends? Do you have a preference for one or the other?
So at my restaurant, is it's a constant everyday thing, balancing the tradition with something that I want to create. So of course there are the traditional dishes, like the lasagna, Genovese, the pizza margherita, and we do have a wood fired oven that is not gas operated, is wood. My
So
boyfriend, who is a saint, he splits the wood for me. And every day we start a real fire in the oven. It's not gas, it's not coals, it's fire. Just like they did it in Pompeii, just like they do it in Naples nowadays. So I am a traditionalist by all means, by every stretch of the meaning of traditional. However, how do I express my creativity with innovation? I create new pizzas that you would not find in Naples. However, the flavor profiles of the combination between sweet and salty, the combination between sweet, salty, and smoky
mm,
is found in my creations. And so the tradition is carried along with the flavors, but the creations are modern.
hmm. I love that. The sweet, the salty, and the smoky. I like that.
Yes, we smoke our own cheese.
Do you really?
Hmm.
Oh, that's so exciting.
We
Ah, I
make
love
our own bread. We make everything from scratch.
Oh, I'm gonna have to come down and try it because now I'm really excited. So let's talk about sustainability and cooking. What steps do you take to promote sustainability in your kitchen, and why do you think it's important for chefs today to have sustainability?
So we have inherited a planet that is not ours. It belongs to our children and our great grandchildren. So we have to be responsible. And it's also a wise business, excuse me, business practice to conserve, reuse, reduce, and recycle. And so it starts with, of course, first, where do you get your ingredients? A lot of my ingredients come from Italy, including the flour, because American flour it makes everybody sick.
Me included.
Plus, is because I do everything according to Vera Pizza Napoletana guidelines, I have to get the pizza flour from Naples. However, whenever I can, I have a very good relationship with local farmers. So the sausage, the beef, the produce comes from local farms. Um, and also from, so that's, how the provisions, how you outsource your ingredients. But then once the ingredients come into the restaurant, you have to be really good at utilizing everything and cross utilizing ingredients. So you don't buy extra, you buy just one ingredient and you use it in different recipes.
Oh, I'm learning too. I love this. Thank you for your insight.
Yes,
That's why I
ma'am.
do this podcast so I can learn more about the world. So let's talk about the role of mentorship. Who have been your mentors in the culinary world, and how have they influenced your journey as a chef?
So in the culinary world, I really haven't had many mentors. Um, I will say probably when I was going to school, um, my instructor, Miss Linda Johnson, who has passed away a few years ago. Um, but as far as mentors, I mean, I still call my mom. Hey, mom, how do I do this? Thank God to WhatsApp because otherwise it would cost me an arm and a leg. Yeah.
Oh, we love
Um,
mom.
and I mean, as a mentor, me, myself, to other people, um, a lot of my students have, come to me, approach me even after they graduated. Hey, I have this business idea. Would it would it fly? Would it not? How do I do this? I've had high school students that still message me and and go, hey, remember how you taught us how to make risotto? Can can I do it with like this ingredient instead of that? Can I substitute this? So I mean, it's all kinds of people reach out to me to to ask questions and guidance. Um, and I always tell other people that come to me, um, especially the fresh graduates, don't call yourself a chef. That is the biggest advice that I can give anybody that just graduated from culinary school. You're not a chef. A chef is someone who has 20 years experience that can manage every aspect of the kitchen. When you first come out of culinary school, you just wet your toes in the water. You can't swim in deep water unless you're a genius. Hey, more power to you. I never wear a chef coat because the coat does not make the person. So you got to be humble. That's the biggest advice I can give anybody. um, you know, start at the lowest point in the food chain and learn your way up. Don't look down on dishwashers. um, Believe it or not, the dishwasher is the one that knows if a dish is selling or not, because they're the ones scraping the plate.
That's interesting. Yes. It's the same thing with how I own a housekeeping company. And, when I clean a home, like I know more about the home than they do because I'm the one cleaning up after it and making sure things are stocked and they have what they need. So that's good advice. I like that. Can we talk a little bit about your culinary arts school?
Um, well, I've worked in many institutions, and currently I am employed at ICE, the Institute of Culinary Education, the Pasadena, California campus. I am one of their online instructors. That way I can still work at the restaurant, and do whatever I got to do and maintain, my foot in education.
No.
And it's a great institution. Um, I know a lot of people are kind of skeptical about learning how to cook online, but we're very strict, thorough. There are very strict guidelines. Um, if we even think that you're cheating, you're out. So, because, it's not fair to us instructors to have our reputation, question. It's not fair to other students that do the work. So, it's a very serious institution.
No, that's great. I personally have been learning how to cook online with TikTok. I know that's not the best option, but it's somewhere to start. But you're
Oh,
right.
yeah.
Like online learning is very important. And I think it's definitely something since COVID that has become more prevalent. So I'm glad to see
Yes.
that you're doing that. That's exciting. So let's talk about customer experience. How important is the dining experience beyond the food itself? And what elements do you think contribute to a memorable meal?
So, in Italy, uh, the way we eat is totally different from America. Uh, when you go into a restaurant, you are looking for a way to enjoy not only the food but also the experience, the company. The first time I ever ate by myself was in America,
Wow.
in a restaurant. In Italy, you never eat by yourself. It's rare. Usually it's like men that have jobs that take them, out of town. And so they sit by themselves. And even when they sit by themselves, there's always the waitress or the owner that sits with them and entertains them, strikes a conversation. So there is conviviality. There is this constant communication and making you feel like you're at home, um, that I rarely find in the United States. And so when I designed my restaurant Gusto Napolitano, I wanted to have that kind of atmosphere, in the United States. And so everything is symbolic in the restaurant. The color of the walls. There is a rosso pompeiano, which is a red wall that is painted, red, with the same color of red that you find in Pompeii, in the ruins. Um, the gray walls is for the ashes from the volcano, right? That erupted. Um, there's pictures of Naples that I took all over the walls. There's a picture of my mom feeding my son, and then I feed, you, the customer. So it's a continuum. And it people love it. We're very welcoming. Just don't ask for pepperoni or ranch or balsamic, because you're not gonna find it.
Or Alfredo.
Or afraid. Yes.
Here I was thinking that I could make Alfredo and I was something special, and I didn't even know that it was American.
Yeah, well, Alfredo, it's pasta col burro, pasta burro e formaggio. It's something that you give people when they're sick, when they have diarrhea or they have a fever. You just boil some water, put pasta in it. When it's ready, you put a little bit of butter and Parmesan cheese. That's it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. There's no cream. No, there's no. Who is Alfredo?
Oh, That's so interesting. Thank you for that. Now I'm gonna go look that up and be like, what's a good recipe? So I make mine terrible, right? I put the butter and the cream in there and then the cheese and stir it, like whisk it up. It's very fattening. I gained a lot of weight that way. Anyways, so let's talk about personal growth. In what ways has your work as a chef contributed to your personal growth, both in and out of the kitchen?
Research, constant research, but not outward, more inward. Um, so go back to my roots. Um, research the history of Neapolitan cuisine. Research all the ingredients, where they come from. Why do we have a pasta dish called Genovese in Naples? But Genovese means you're from Genoa. But it's the most like sacred dish in Naples. It's a pasta dish with onions that cook for 6 hours.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. So it's just doing research on the history of my people and the way we eat and what we eat.
I agree with that because the way that we eat over here in America is definitely a lot different than they eat anywhere else. And I've noticed that,
Mhm.
especially because the doctor that I see, she is from India and she was explaining to me that like the American diet will absolutely kill you. So I had to make a lot of changes because I didn't know that as I don't even own a passport, but I'm getting one. But it's just, it's very important to know where your ingredients come from and like what they can do to you. So I love that. Let's talk about handling criticism. I know you touched a little bit on it, but how do you handle criticism, whether it's from customers, peers, or food critics? And has it ever influenced your cooking style or your choices?
Never. Usually, criticism comes from ignorance.
You're very wise. I am learning so much today. That's true. I mean,
So it's you say, "Oh, this is not Italian pizza." Okay, where did you eat Italian pizza? In New York. Okay, so you ate New York pizza. Or where did you eat Italian pizza? Oh, in Aviano, where the other army base is in Italy, right? Well, they do things different. This is Neapolitan pizza. Or they go, oh, why you don't have pepperoni? This is America. I've been called a terrorist more times than I can count on my fingers because I don't have pepperoni. And I'm a veteran.
oh my
It's like, I served your country, and no, we don't have pepperoni. Get out.
God. Over pepperoni.
Over pepperoni. We've had death threats over pepperoni. I'm not joking.
This
Death threats.
is intense. Wow.
Yes.
Sorry, I needed a minute to process that.
So it's what they don't understand. Again, criticism comes from ignorance. Uh, when the immigrants came to America, they couldn't find salamino calabrese, which is what we use. So they created this other sausage that kind of looks like, but it tastes nothing like salamino calabrese. And so why would I have an imitation when I have the real thing? We do have salamino calabrese, and that's what we put, you know, instead of pepperoni. No, I want pepperoni. This is America. Okay, bye, Felicia.
That is the best response. Oh my god, these people. I am scared. That's over pepperoni. I've never had my life threatened over pepperoni, but like, damn. Oh, and you're down in Fayetteville, right?
Yeah.
That my personal opinions I will leave out of it, but that's probably why. Um,
If it's not a chain where food is on steroids, they're not interested. There's a very small group of people that actually are into real food, natural ingredients. But the majority of people have had their taste buds destroyed by all this commercially created food with excess of MSG, salt, spicy flavors, so their taste buds are shot. And when they eat my natural food, It's like, oh, this has no flavor. Okay.
Right. Thank you. Whatever.
Yep. There's nothing I can do. I'm not going to change.
I agree with you on that. When I went from eating crappy, American fast food to what I'm currently eating, I had zero taste buds. I thought that it was like from COVID, and I was like, oh, I just never got my taste back. And it'd been 4 years, and I was like, that's not right. But now that I eat the good foods and the things that are flavorful that don't have all the junk in it, sometimes it can be very overwhelming for me. Like it's just
Yeah.
like,
It's
I didn't know this tasted like this.
yeah, it's like chicken. Uh, it chicken doesn't taste like anything. But if you get a chicken from a farmer, you actually taste chicken. And that's why in America, chicken needs to have all kinds of sauces associated with it, because otherwise you might as well eat a piece of plaster. It
That
has no
explains
flavor.
it. Yeah,
Yeah,
because I was like, okay, why do we need like 1,000 different spices to make this taste like anything?
yeah, or dipping sauces. In
Yeah,
Italy, we don't have dipping sauces. We don't need to.
because all the flavors are already there.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. I'm getting a passport tomorrow because I am really needing to go to Italy at this point. I've been wanting to go for a while for the culinary experience because I love food, but now I'm really going. Can we talk about future trends? What culinary trends do you see emerging, and how do you plan to adapt your cooking or restaurant concept to stay relevant?
So, unfortunately, the trend is more junk food
Hmm.
and more technology because people don't want to work. They look down on working in restaurants because the it's no longer an art.
Mm-mm.
You don't create anymore. You just heat up food and serve it. I mean, restaurants don't even buy steaks like raw meat anymore. They buy steaks that already have grill marks and they're partially cooked already. All they do is reheat.
Mm.
So the art is lost. And so when the art is lost, then they get paid less and less. And they still have to work, 12-hour shifts on their feet, but they're not paid as much as if they had a skill. So no skill means lower pay. And so a lot of people left the industry because who wants to work for pennies on the dollar, but you have no skills.
No, I
Give
agree
me the
with you.
skills, I'll pay you.
Hmm.
And so a lot of jobs are being changed. They're being taken over by technology. So you're not gonna find a waitress anymore. Just tablets at a table where you order your food from. Or again, they're coming out with a robot that makes pizza.
That's
It's
really good.
crazy,
Yeah.
crazy. Yes, but you can do that with Domino. You can do that with Little Caesar, Papa John. Can't do that with mine because you got to shape it by hand. So they can have all their trends. I'm a dinosaur, and I'm a happy dinosaur.
And that's good because when you find your niche, you're going to make more money. That's what they say in the entrepreneur world. So you find the people that appreciate it, and they're always going to be there for you to support you.
Yeah, imagine in my restaurant we don't even have heating lamps. Everything is cooked to order,
That is
fresh.
amazing. I'm learning so much today because I not to discredit anything. I used to work at Pizza Hut. Don't judge me. I worked there for 6 years, and you're right. Everything was already done. You just threw it together, threw it in the oven. It went through, cut it, done. Like it was, and there
Mhm.
was heat lamps and hot boxes and all that, and it was terrible. It tasted terrible. I'm not gonna lie. I did feed my kids on it for the whole time I worked there, but I was a single parent, so I didn't really have a choice.
Yeah, you
But
gotta do what you gotta do.
yeah, it would just you could tell the difference from when I first started to like one of the last pizzas I got. The flavor of the crust was like nothing, and it was just sitting in a thing of oil, so it was basically like deep fried.
Yeah.
It was just soggy and anyways, I'm gonna shut up before I gross myself out. Ugh. And their sausage crumbles. Anyways, so gross. So let's talk about communicating through food. How do you convey stories or emotions through your dishes, and how important is that connection to you as a chef?
Well, every dish tells a story. Um, for example, every Tuesday we have a pasta special, and I give the story of the dish. I'm very active on Facebook, and through that I educate a lot about Neapolitan cuisine, about Italian cuisine, which, by the way, does not exist. Every region is different. So Italian cuisine, it's a misnomer. It should be Italian regional cuisine. We're not a unified nation yet. It's been about, I don't know, 200 years.
I was gonna say I've
Yeah.
heard something about that. Like Sicilian food is different than non-Sicilian food, and you guys all have different ways of preparing dishes.
Yes.
So that's interesting. My mother, well, ex mother in law, I should say, because we're no longer together. She is Italian. Obviously, they come from Connecticut, and her parents came from Italy. Not they're not Sicilian. Her cooking was so phenomenal. I was so excited about that. I actually still make some of the stuff she taught me how to make because my mom was a terrible cook. Horrible. So I learned how to cook when I was very young from her, and her baking. Oh my God. Just the flavors and the way that it took her all day to make it. And I'm okay with that. But she'd make everything from scratch. It was so good. Oh, sorry. Got really excited there. So let's talk about your legacy and impact. What legacy do you hope to leave in the culinary world, and how do you want to be remembered?
Hmm. I don't know. The most hated chef in favor.
That's a good one.
Uh, um, I'm writing a food memoir, so hopefully that would, help with the legacy. Um, but yeah, just someone that uh, really loved food, and was honest food.
Good food, too, with a great
Yeah.
story. I haven't been yet, but now I'm going to go so that I can write up a little bit more on this podcast. That's great. Is there anything else that you would like to talk about today and share with everyone?
Uh, so in America, there are no real and true advocates for wholesome food.
Mhm.
We have to be our own advocates, uh, detectives, and the only way that we can vote to have better food is with our dollars.
You're absolutely correct. I have a client that tells me all the time, let your feet do the talking and just don't visit that establishment.
So it's a vicious cycle. You eat at these chain restaurants, and then you get sick, develop chronic diseases, and you have nobody else to blame but yourself.
I will agree with you on that because I am a person who fell victim to that. I ended up with lupus, and now I can't eat gluten, and I can't eat dairy, and I can't eat any fast food, and there's so many things I cannot have. Red meat is one of them too. And so I agree with you 100% on that. It kind of crept up on me. One day I just was really sick and I couldn't get out of bed, and I didn't understand why. And it went on for 2 weeks. And I go to the
Wow.
doctor and I was like, "Hey, I can't move. I don't know what's going on." Like, and then she was like, "Let's talk about your diet." She ran my labs and she was more concerned about my diet than anything else. And this was 6 months ago. So since then she has told me to change my entire diet, and then I
Mm-hmm.
went and had labs done yesterday. My cholesterol went down 20 points, which is amazing. I have been able to move and get up out of bed, and I feel better.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not eating any of that overprocessed crap that just doesn't make you feel good. And
Yeah, it's that's the one thing that, the my customers tell me is after they eat my food, they don't feel sick.
Yeah.
People that have a gluten intolerance, they can actually eat my bread, my food, my pizza, my desserts, and don't get like, stiff um, joints or other weird things that happen to them when they eat American flour. And I mean, I've been selling my flour from Europe, in a gallon bag, which is 5 pounds, and people have told me that it's made a difference in their life. So it's yeah, you are what you eat. That's that's my closing statement, Your Honor.
You are absolutely correct. So, do you want to share with everybody where they can find your restaurant?
Sure. Gusto Napolitano is located at 2711 Rayford Road in Fayetteville, North Carolina, right across the street from the grocery store Harry's Theater.
Awesome. And how many days a week are you open?
We're open Tuesday through Saturday. Tuesday, Wednesday for dinner only, and then Thursday, Friday, Saturday, lunch and dinner. But just like in Italy, we close between 3 and 5.
That is so exciting. I've obviously never left the country, but I heard that like the whole town shuts down between 3 and 5 so you can like eat, take a nap, like do whatever you need to do.
Yeah, and because we cook everything from scratch, we use that break to prepare for the dinner uh, shift.
That is so phenomenal. Now I'm going to go get a passport because I want to go. I want to see this. I want to like live this life. Okay. This is so great. Better food,
Yeah,
better
it's more
ingredients.
laid back. It's a lot of work because you work more, but then you have time to unplug and relax.
I think that's important. And I think that's kind of missing from the hustle lifestyle that America kind of makes you do. And that can get really exhausting really quick.
Yeah.
So, well, I want to thank you so much for doing the podcast with me today. I really appreciate all of your insights. You're very wise, very wise. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And
Thank you
we'll
for
see.
having me.
Absolutely. And you're going to have to come back in like a year and give us like a catch up because I want to know more about this book.
Absolutely.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you guys for joining us for another exciting episode of Down Home Dirt. We'll see you next week.